Thought it was on.
I didn't turn it on yet. Okay, so it's Wednesday, November the 12th. This is Kate Petrusa here with Bernie Jebson at Fraser River Pile and Dredge. So we can start. So, yes, we've been interviewing lots of people, like a lot of longshore, because there used to be a longshore port in New West,
Yep.
and which I'm sure you know, and I would love to hear any information you have on that. Mill workers, people who just work, on Columbia Street, like just businesses and
Yep.
that have been there for a long time. I'm going blank, tugboat captains, river pilots. There's more, and I don't know. Yeah, boat builders, like shipbuilding
Yep.
over in Queensboro. Kind of the whole waterfront from
Yep.
Queensboro down to Braid.
Okay.
So yeah, so we came. Fraser River Pile and Dredge is something obviously you've been around for.
103 years now.
Yeah, so of course
Yeah.
we wanted to speak to you, about the present as much as the past. Like,
Yeah.
I do have a copy of the book that was put out a couple of years ago,
Yeah,
so
the
I can
anniversary
reference
book,
that. Yeah, the anniversary book.
They did a really good job on the past stuff.
Yeah,
They sort of ran out of time to finish the present stuff.
exactly.
So
Yeah,
we're just, yeah.
that's kind of how I felt. I thought,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
I mean, especially for people like, because this is this project is hopefully going to educate New Westminster residents, but also anyone who comes to the museum about industry on the waterfront
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
really what it's about. Because there's people, including myself, who don't know the half of it, and it's fascinating. I mean, I've been surprised at how much I've learned, and
Well, there
how
used to be a vibrant
fascinating.
sawmill right there.
Yeah.
Domus Forest Products, New West Division. It was
Yeah.
there for years.
So yeah, and I like so that was after Alaska Pine, because that was. Do you know about that one?
That was before my time.
Okay, yeah.
It
sure.
might have been called Alaska Pine way back when.
Mhm.
When I was involved, it was called Dolmans. New West
Domans,
Division.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and so not right where Kruger or Scott Paper was, but just past.
Right beside Scott Paper.
Okay.
Yeah, basically between Scott Paper and the railway bridge.
Mhm.
The mill was in that area.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, well let's start.
I should bring up Google Earth just so as we're talking.
Sure,
we
yeah.
can, talk
Yeah,
about different stuff.
and we do want to hear as much of your story too. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we could even just pull that up, and then we
I've
can
been-
start at the beginning.
Well, I've been with
you.
Fraser River. I started June 1st, 1981.
Okay.
So 34 years.
And how did you even show up here? How did you?
Okay,
What led you?
Well, I knew about Fraser River because my dad was a carpenter foreman for the company since 1969.
Okay.
So I knew the name Fraser River.
Yeah.
I did work here a couple of summers, just working down in the yard as a student, basically threading bolts and
Mhm.
loading stuff out, helping out in the yard. They since don't do the student thing anymore.
Student, like, were you affiliated with a school per se, or a student
no,
meaning
it's just
high school? Or
High school.
Yeah.
Basically because my dad was a foreman for them, they tried to bring in students of that worked until one of the foremen who didn't have any sons got mad
Mhm.
and complained to the union, and that was the end of it. There's
Really?
no more students coming in anymore.
Why was he?
Well, because he couldn't get a son to come and do that because he didn't
Oh.
have any kids, and he got his nose out of joint and phoned the union hall. And of course, because we're union affiliated, students aren't in the union.
Right.
They got stopped.
Wow.
But that's 40 years ago,
Yeah.
thereabouts, 35 years ago.
Okay.
So yeah, so I started in June 1st, 1981. Basically, I graduated at BCIT in
Okay.
civil and structural engineering, so I'm a technologist. And my first job was over in Crofton. At that time, it was BC Forest Products. Had a big pulp mill over there.
Okay.
Fraser was actually owned by BC Forest Products back then,
Hmm.
and they hired us to come and build them a big concrete dock. So my first job was to go over there as a surveyor, shooting in 24-inch diameter concrete piles. We had a big survey equipment set up on the far shoreline, and then we had to shoot in as they were driving these piles to get them all in the right place as we pounded them into the ground. So I did that for June till about September, October, I guess, and then I came into the office, just started learning the different ropes. I think I'm trying to think now, in 84, 85, I guess, thereabouts, I started doing more on the clamshell type work. The fellow we had at the time had retired, and they didn't really have anybody to look after all the clamshell work, and I thought, well, I'd done some of it, so I was interested, because it's clamshell work, unless you can visualize what's underwater, it's difficult,
Yeah.
because you can't see what you're doing. The bucket's all underwater most of the time.
Yeah. So clamshell. That's just a way of saying using that.
The clam bucket.
Which we did see actually last time we were here. Nate was good enough to.
Oh, did he?
I think
Okay.
so.
Show
Like
you?
it's yeah,
Yeah.
it was just right
I've
on
got.
the.
I mean, I've got pictures, and I can
Oh.
email you different pictures.
Yeah.
We can go through our archives, and I
Mhm.
can send you a bunch of different pictures of all different jobs on
Yeah, yeah.
buckets and rigs and that. So that was mid '80s. Then I went to wood fiber back at the pulp mill up in Squamish. That was
Okay.
being rebuilt back in about 84, 85 there was a major upgrade up there.
And this is all out of this office, though.
Everything's
like,
based
yeah.
out of here. Yeah.
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 See.
What I did is I traveled back and forth to Squamish for 2 years from home. In the wintertime we stayed in camp. In the summertime we drove back and forth. I was up there for almost 2 years doing construction work up there, between pile driving, dredging, concrete work, all kinds of different marine type work. And then in '86 was the first labor unrest that the company's ever had. Well, in my time,
Yeah.
where the companies locked out the unions, so they were out for a month or two. And we had bid on a major project back in Churchill, Manitoba, to do a dredging job at the deep sea dock back there.
Oh.
So what we ended up by doing is,
Manitoba.
because I was management, I wasn't part of the union, I
Oh.
was able to keep working. So we did. We took our barges, cranes, tugs, everything from here, put them all on rail cars, and shipped everything back to Churchill, Manitoba. And went in there June 23rd. The bay was still frozen over, but the river was starting to break up. And we put the crane, the barges, put everything all back together. And then I worked there till, well, we had crews working around the clock, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Using other union folks and.
We took two of our operators from here.
Okay.
Because it was a different union affiliation back there, we were able to take the guys from
Yeah.
here to go back.
Oh.
We hired local guys for deck engineers, and we brought a couple of guys back to run the tugs. And that was, let me see, middle of early August, I guess. I was allowed to take a week off and come home. So, I got married in '85.
Oh, okay.
So it was basically said to my wife, I can come home for our anniversary, or I come home for your birthday. Because our anniversary is August 3rd, her birthday's August 18th. But I said I can't do both. So I came home for her birthday. Missed our first anniversary.
Oh.
Came home for a week, and then went back, and I came out in middle of September. There was a big ferry landing tender out for some work up in Campbell River. They had no one to bid it. So they shipped me home. I bid the job. It was about a $3 million job, I guess. And then in January of '87, I went to Campbell River for 5 months, looking after a major ferry landing rebuild. So yeah, and then after that, one of my coworkers, Warren Penner, left the company, and it left a hole in our clamshell project management type spot. So they asked me if I wanted to step up even more on the clamshell side of it, and I said sure, because that's about the same time that Environment Canada was coming up with an awful lot more regulations.
Okay.
So I got in on the ground floor dealing with them, and then what it was is I didn't have to do a lot of out-of-town work, but I worked a lot of weekends. Probably on average 40 Saturday and Sundays a year in stat holidays. That went on for year after year after year.
You mean straight through, or like you just had different days?
I tried to take different time off.
Oh, okay.
The longest stretch I ever went here in town was 6 weeks.
Oh, wow.
7 days a week. We just bounced from mill, because right now there's about 10 or 12 mills that are no longer exist.
Yeah.
That used to exist here in the river. And we used to do all the maintenance work for most of them. Like Western Whitewood used to be across the river. Doman's New West used to be up here. Yeah, Inner Four.
Inner Four, yeah,
Inner Four,
right.
Western
That's
Whitewood.
the one
Yeah.
I was thinking of.
McDonald Cedar used to be up in Fort Langley. Mackenzie Sazai, who just had a third fire here about a week ago over in Surrey. They're not running. Mill and Timber runs sporadically.
Where's that one?
That's between the Patella Bridge and the Port Mann.
Oh. Patella Port Mann.
That's right.
On the Surrey side, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. There's the Patella.
Uh-huh. Oh.
And it is...
Oh, yeah. I take South Razor
right here,
Perimeter
right here.
Road, so
then you go right past it.
Yeah.
South Perimeter Road goes right
Oh,
here.
jeez.
Yeah,
I'd never
it's
know
right
it
here.
was a mill.
So that mill's sporadic. And then Mackenzie Sazai. Hang on a second, maybe I got the wrong mill. So I got the wrong one. Wrong one. That's Mill and Timber here,
Okay.
and then Mackenzie Sazai is here.
Okay. Oh, so there's two mills, right?
Yeah, but
Okay.
Mackenzie Sazai is burnt. Well, this is the third time.
Mm.
They're trying to rebuild it, and it burnt again.
Oh,
Mill
wow.
and Timber is just curtailed because of the market. The other mill that's gone is Fraser Mills.
Yeah, the big,
The
Yeah.
huge mill over the Coquitlam side.
yeah.
That one's gone.
Yeah, that's
I'm
significant.
trying to think. Down in Delta, there's used to be Norski, Northwest Hardwoods. That mill's gone. There used to be a Queensboro. There used to be a sawmill over in Queensboro. This is channel here.
On the side, okay.
Yeah, that one was only there for maybe a few years when I got involved, and then it didn't stick around very long. It's gone. Now down the North Arm, there's Canfor Eburn's gone. Dolman's Vancouver Silt Division's gone. Dolman's Van Div's gone. There used to be Weldwood's plywood plant. That's gone. I'm trying to think if there's any other. Anyway, there's a lot over the last 30 years that have disappeared. So yeah, so my weekend work, I only now work between 20 and 25 Saturdays, Sundays a year. So not as much.
That's still, that's
So
a lot
quite a bit.
though, still. Let's see. So when you're talking about mills, it seems like, for the dredging, that's like a big customer. That's what I'm assuming.
Yeah, because what ends up by happening, like for instance, Richmond Plywood down by the Knight Street Bridge, we dredge them out about every 4 or 5 months because they have where they are, and then they concentrate all their log handling in one spot.
Okay.
So every log that goes into the mill goes to that same spot before they lift it out of the water. All the bark builds up because the bark falls off the logs. So you get quite a bark buildup.
So you're dredging bark.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
bark
interesting.
Bark and wood waste. Yeah.
So I know with the sand, it goes various places, which I would like to hear about, but the bark, what do you...
It all goes to Point Grey, which is an Environment Canada approved ocean disposal site out in the ocean.
Oh, somebody mentioned that. You just dispose of it. Wow.
Yeah, but now, before you're allowed to do that, though, you
Yeah.
have to get Port Metro Vancouver's approval to do the dredging. You have to get Environment Canada's approval. And Environment Canada's approval, if the project is less than 4,000 cubic meters, then Fraser River has a general ocean disposal permit that Environment Canada will let us utilize, but you still have to go get soil samples. You have to test for heavy metals, pHs, PCBs.
Every 4 months, or...
The soil samples are valid for a period of 4 years.
Okay, right.
So once you've tested it, they say, okay, 4 years, it's fine, then you do it again. And that's about $5,000 to get that done.
On your end, yeah.
And then now, if it's a site like Richmond Plywood, Sepa Lumber, Delta Cedar that do more than 4,000 cubic meters per year, we get them their own site-specific permit, and that takes 5 months through the federal government to get those permits, and they're only valid for 12 months.
Right.
So we're continually, like all these drawers, that's what's in all these 4 filing cabinets.
Oh, soil sampling permit
1988 is all the documents that are in. We all have electronic a lot now.
Yeah,
Up for the first few years, it was just all paper copies.
Oh my gosh.
So, and then I've started. These are 2 books that I started putting stuff into in 1988.
Oh.
I had a situation at Delta Cedar where when they built the Alex Fraser Bridge, it created a back eddy. You want a pad of paper or you want
I can use this, yeah.
That's big enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just for a few notes because there's so much I want to ask you and I'm afraid I'm going to forget. So.
Well, you can always email me that.
Yeah, okay, I will.
Forget something. When they built the Alex Fraser Bridge, it created a back eddy at Delta Cedar. We never used to dredge Delta Cedar. Didn't have to. The river naturally scoured it out. Well, when they built the pier on the bridge, what it did, if you look at Google, is the river used to come down this side, and it would come right down through here and keep the mill all washed out. They put this bump in the land here.
They put that there.
They built that to build the tower for the bridge.
Oh.
So what happens? The river comes down now, hits here, and deflects over there. But now it swirls around and it creates what's called a back eddy.
Oh yeah.
And when it back eddies, the water slows down. So any sediment that's in the water column drops out. So we went in just after they built the bridge, and we spent about 10 days dredging all this out.
Wow.
And I told the guy at the mill, I said, the Highways Department paid the cost. Delta Cedar signed the deal with the Highways Department. They wouldn't bother asking for any more funds in the future. Told the guy at the mill, I said, we will be dredging your mill every year now. And they go, oh, no, you know what you're talking about. Well, we dredge it every year now. So they were trying to go after the government 4 or 5 years later. And the guy said, how hard would it be for you to give us a list of what you've done in the last 10 years? So I'll have it on the fax in 5 minutes. I just took my book and I went back. July of 1988, I can tell you every time we've been at that mill and what we've done. So these are my Bibles.
Yeah.
One time I had my truck stolen out of my driveway, and these books were in my truck. Fortunately, they didn't take the books; they missed them. So I basically brought the books to the office, and I have a photocopy of them. Just
Wow.
everybody says, "Why don't you do electronic?" I said, "Nope." I said, "Those are my personal books.
Yeah.
There's personal home phone numbers. There's gate security codes for a lot of the mills we go to."
Okay.
I said, "People have given me all that information." I said, that's confidential. Those are mine." So
Mhm.
I had the president one time ask me for a copy of those, and I said, "No." Oh, was he mad? He didn't like that. Oh. I said, "No, I'm sorry. That's my information."
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I mean, we do all the work for Lehigh, Lafarge. We do all their barge ramps. There's
Oh,
one in
okay.
Surrey.
Where? Yeah. Okay. Surrey. Okay. Lafarge. Yeah. Because that's a big
Yeah.
company.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah. I mean, they've got a ramp, a facility down number 9 Road. They've got a ramp down in Mitchell Slough, and then Lehigh's got one in Mitchell Slough, Marpole, Tilbury and Delta, one in Surrey. Windvan, there's ramps in New West.
Oh yeah, Windvan.
Windvan.
That
too.
yeah, we've talked to them.
Yep.
Okay, so you have to dredge their.
Yep. Yeah, I
their
just gave them a
barge
price here
ramp.
recently to dredge their berth out.
Oh yeah.
We haven't done it yet, but hopefully they're going to get us to do it.
How often? I mean, I guess.
Theirs doesn't fill in very often. It's been
Yeah.
probably 6-8 years or more since it's been done.
Hmm.
The ramp for Lehigh, which is on immediately above the Patella Bridge on the Surrey side, we do that every year.
Mhm.
It fills in. It's
Okay.
just the way you're positioned on the river
Yeah.
and the way the river flows.
And how about like Kruger? Like, do you have to do that?
Kruger, yeah. When they used to have their log
Yeah.
facility, which they've now torn down,
Oh.
we used to dredge that about every 2 years. Again, because it's bark debris that builds up. Where they unload their pulp barge right now, about every 2 years we have to dredge that out because the sediment, just the way it comes down around through Poplar Island, dredges it out.
Okay, so there's no logs there, so they have pulp shipped by barge
Yep.
or
Yep.
and by truck maybe, or
I'm not sure if they bring pulp in by
Yeah.
truck. They
I
used to
don't know.
bring logs in by truck.
yeah.
All the logs, they don't handle
Huh.
logs. It's just all strictly pulp.
Wow.
And I think it's probably like a reject pulp they use from the big pulp mills.
yeah.
They send their barge away, I don't know, once a week, every 2 weeks, and bring it back full of pulp.
Okay. Wow.
And use that for the paper.
Okay.
Yeah, actually in Churchill. That's where we were at Churchill.
Oh.
That's the wind on the bay.
Oh,
What happened
wow.
that day was it was rough, and the divers didn't have any work to do that particular day. So they asked me, "Hey, do you want to pull all the dive gear on?" Sure. So I put all the brass hardhead, went down about 40 feet.
Wow.
And, that was pretty neat. I
That
could see about
was,
20
yeah.
feet.
Wow, is that scary? It always seems
No.
so freaky.
No, the only thing I found is the suit I had on wasn't quite tight enough for me, so there was a little bit of water trickling in on the sleeves. It was just cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you had like 4 or 5 sets of long underwear on, and
Yeah.
it was like 5 or 6 pairs of socks because it's pretty cold.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Wow. So how far then, like along the river, do you
Do we go?
dredge? Yeah, like.
Kanaka Creek is the
Oh.
extent of Port Metro Vancouver's jurisdiction,
Okay.
but we do go farther than that.
Oh.
We've been up to GH Noble up in Warnock,
Oh.
up in Walden Forest Products up in Ruskin. We've been that
Oh,
far
yeah.
up. We've had a rig up underneath the Rosedale Bridge, the one that when you go out the freeway, then you cut across over to Harrison Hot Springs.
Mhm.
We've had a rig under that bridge, not for dredging, we're doing rock work. CN Rail had a spot up of the bridge where the river was scouring out and they were worried about losing the rail line. So we went up with a marine rig and loaded a bunch of rock up there off the beach, and then went up and placed all this rock all around it.
Wow.
And then as far as up north, we've got 2 marine rigs working in Prince Rupert right now.
Okay.
Another one working in Port McNeill. But as far as the clamshell side, and then I do an extensive clamshell work over Vancouver Island.
Oh yeah.
Between Nanaimo, Ladysmith, Saltaire, Crofton. We just did a 2.5-week run last summer.
Oh.
We basically take a rig and crew over there and go 7 days a week, just bouncing
Just
around.
dredge,
We
yeah.
did 7 sites this past summer.
Oh.
In fact, we were just back there on Sunday. One of the mills in Ladysmith had an emergency that we had to go back over. So we
To
had
emergency
to
dredge.
yeah.
How could it be? What's an emergency dredge? I mean, how does that happen?
You can get an emergency dredge. Sometimes you'll get a gravel barge in a gravel berth that the
yeah.
barge will get a hole and take on water. The barge will tip over and
Oh.
spill a bunch of gravel.
Oh yeah.
That's an emergency dredge.
Really? Wow.
What happened over in Ladysmith was we dredged the mill last March. We were there in July dredging the mill next door. I went over and took some soundings to show how what the bottom, how much bark had built up. Showed the manager, hey, you've got this much infill, your basket, you're not going to keep your mill running. Oh no, we're fine. Okay. So the guy phones in October. We're out of water. Can't get our basket down. We need to get it down to in order to get logs into the mill. He used to say we went over and did a quick 1-day job for him.
Wow. And then, I mean, I guess on Vancouver Island, maybe it's different with the sand or like the sediment. Where does it all end up?
In the main, well, all the stuff on the island is pretty well all wood waste. It's all stuff that's been deposited
On
from
the island,
their
okay.
standard mill handling practices. In the river here, in the main nav channel from Fraser Surrey docks to the mouth, we have the 309, which is our trailing iron hopper dredge. That maintains the main channel.
Okay.
I don't know if I got a picture of it here somewhere. I don't. Anyway, we can look it up. It's a 400-foot long ship. It's got about 20 guys on board, and they go 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 6 hours on, 6 hours off, round the clock. And it's basically, it's a giant ship, and it's got 2 arms that it lowers down to the bottom.
Right here.
Yeah, right at the main part of the river. It ties up at Vito Shipyards, down below the Arthur Lang Bridge.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know whether. Yeah, it's not tied there. It's you can't miss it. It's a giant red ship. You can't miss it. It's huge.
Okay.
What they do is they suck the material off from the navigation channel where the deep sea freighters have to navigate, put the sand in its own cargo hold, and then they'll steam ashore down at number 8 road, number 5 road. There's a few places along the river. They come into the beach. They hook up to a shore pipe, and then they take the sand out of their own cargo hold, and they pump it ashore, and then blow it up into sand piles. Pump it, directly ashore.
And it's used for. I know it's
preloads. Yeah, well, that's all the sand across the way.
That's all.
Well, all that sand used to be over there. They keep moving it. They basically use it as a preload to fool the ground.
Okay.
You can put a building on, it's going to weigh X number of tons.
Okay.
They put that amount of sand on it, push the ground down, strip the sand up, put the building on it, and then the ground still thinks it's full of sand.
Oh.
So. And there's across the way right now is our rig. It's called the Mackenzie. It's a 200-ton crane, and it's got a big vibro hammer right now, and it's driving a 42-inch diameter pipe in the ground right now.
Right now, I can't even.
But
The
you know
one
what?
right
Do
here.
you want a copy?
No,
No?
I'm okay. Yeah.
Because we probably later on we'll go up and
Oh,
get our
okay,
lunch
sure.
and we can see a little better. But
So the right here, like.
yeah,
the
right in
big-
line. Actually, come over this way a little bit because you can see it because the trees are kind of in your way. You can see there's a pipe,
Oh yeah.
And,
Okay.
and the base of the hydraulic hammer clamps on the top of it, and then shakes it up and down, and then pushes it in the ground.
The vibro hammer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's going to be there eventually?
That is a place we're putting a temporary tie up for our old hopper dredge,
Oh, okay.
which is the Fraser Titan,
Okay.
and it's tied up in Coquitlam right now in a 300-foot ship.
Hmm.
So we had to upgrade because the ship was it was getting pretty old and we needed to upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a ship for sale if you want to buy one. So we've been a few months trying to get approval to put some temporary pipe in over there to bring the other ship in here and tie it up
Okay.
here. Get it
Yeah,
closer to
just
where
have it closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, instead of paying, I don't know what we're paying up in Coquitlam for tie up, to lease the property where we're tying it
Oh.
out, we can tie it up here a lot more
Because
reasonably.
you just had
Yeah.
leases here that were long standing.
That's right. And then when that mill across the way shut down,
Yeah.
we took over the leases all across the river.
Oh.
So now we have all our barges all tied up across the river.
Yeah.
now, too.
Okay.
And we've leased as part of the fisheries. These are all heritage buildings. We can't touch these buildings. But we've
really?
leased the property just to store different stuff on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And our yard basically goes from here right down to the Queensboro Bridge,
Wow.
all along the river.
Yeah.
I'll show you when we go up in lunch room.
Sure.
Get a good idea of how we're.
Yeah. So this is about work too. So I'm actually. So you talked about. I'm going to go back to what you were saying, but you're saying. Well, first of all, I want to understand the union aspect. Like, which unions are involved?
Well, on the construction side of the company, we have pile drivers, which are Bridgman Wharf and Dock Builders, Union 2404.
Okay.
Their main union hall is over in Annis Island. The other union we have is operating engineers, 115.
Okay.
That's our deck engineers, deckhands, crane operators, loader operators. We have one Teamster, which is our warehouseman down in the yard. That's on the construction side. On the sand sale side, on the hopper dredge, they've got Guild, SIU. I forget the other unions. They've got a few different unions that they deal with. We mainly just deal with two on our side of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you mentioned like bidding on projects and things like
Estimates. Yeah.
Estimates. Okay. Oh, I see. So it's an estimate.
Yeah,
you
so what'll
just
happen is if someone wants some work done, they'll come in with a list of what they want. A lot of the work that I look after is repeat clients that we work for on an ongoing basis. So if someone wants to do some dredging, we generally already got the permits in place because they dredge on an ongoing basis. We make sure the permits are kept up to date. We got a master list that we
Okay.
keep track of where everybody's at.
Mhm.
If a person's samples are going to expire next month, then we'll get a hold of them and say, hey, your samples are expiring. When are you thinking of dredging? If you want to dredge in the next few months, we better get you new samples now. If you don't want to dredge till next year, okay, well then we'll wait and we'll get samples next year, so it extends the time that the samples are valid for.
Mhm. Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. And you manage all of that information?
Yeah. I
That's
have
a
help
lot,
now.
but- okay.
I got help a couple years ago.
Okay.
They hired an environment guy
Okay.
to help with the paperwork because it was just I just couldn't handle it all. It was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
way too much. We just did a job for Chick Stewart. I don't know if you know who he is. Him and his wife owned S&R Sawmills.
Okay.
They also own Northview Golf Course. They have a little private island over, or property on a little island over in the Gulf Islands. They had an area where the high time winter storms was eroding the bank away, and these great big arbutus trees were getting ready to fall into the ocean. They wanted to protect them.
Yeah.
So it took me a year and a half to get them permits to go in and put 700 tons of riprap on the bank to protect these trees. So Rob Cochran, he's our environment guy.
Okay.
He's been a godsend for me to help me on the paperwork side of it.
Yeah. Wow.
But like all these binders,
Yeah.
like all the drawers, all the stuff that's on top of those two cabinets is all the active stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Once we finish them, then we put it back in the drawer. And then all the binders up on top are all projects that we've worked on, that I've worked on.
Right.
Same as all the binders under here. We keep all the records because you just never know when you need some past information, because we work on the same sites over and over again.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you want to pull up some previous. In fact, I just had a client up the river wanted to know what we did for him in 2011. He couldn't find his records, so I just emailed him a bunch of information this morning.
Yeah, I'm sure they appreciate that a lot
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And so, one of your major clients is Mills, or always has been. Two questions: who are the other clients, and if all these mills are shutting down, do you find it's slower in some ways, or how has work changed?
Yeah. I mean, we're doing an awful lot of more major projects like the Portland Bridge.
Right.
A lot of major ferry landings. So our day-to-day stuff, has slowed down a little bit on the sawmill type work. I mean, most of the mills dredge once a year. So if 12 mills have gone down, a mill might dredge 2 or 3 days out of the year.
Okay.
So when you take that, it's only 3 weeks to a month's work for one rig. We own 9. We've got 9 rigs.
Oh wow.
Various aside from the smallest one's 100 ton up to a 350 ton crane on a marine barge. That's pretty big. So that part of it is, and I think a lot of the other mills, like we picked up all the work on the island. We didn't used to do the work for Western on the island before, because one of our competitors was doing it, and then he sort of didn't do a very good job one year and sort of lost a lot of it. And we were able to get our foot in the door and show the client what we could do, and they just phone us now.
Wow.
So that's picked up a lot of the work that
Interesting.
we've lost here in the river.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, is there other, it's hard for me to understand, you don't have to dredge all of the river all of the time. It's people who call you up and
Well, we have a contract with the port. It's a 10-year contract.
Okay.
To do from Sandheads to Fraser Surrey docks.
Okay.
That's
all right.
but that's the navigation channel for deep sea freighters.
Okay.
Anything over and above that, anything in the North Arm, anyone that leases a piece of property from the port, it's their problem to do their own dredging.
Okay.
The port doesn't look after anything except the nav channels. They did do a major job, I'm trying to think how many years ago, down the North Arm, down by the Knight Street Bridge, and then down below the Arthur Lang, there was a couple spots that were really filling in bad. And the port put out a tender and hired us to go and dredge those spots up.
Okay,
but
so
most of the stuff in the North Arm, like anything in the Annecy Channel, there's people in the Annecy Channel that are having big problems. The port's just saying it's not our problem.
And it's expensive, I guess, for them. And that's, yeah. Wow.
The port is doing a major job in Ladner right now, but that's been 15 years since they did it before. So
wow.
Pretty filled in.
And is the port struggling? I mean, I don't know. I just don't know.
I don't think so. No, I mean they just look at it. I think what they try to look at is who are the users in the river.
Yeah.
And if there's really nobody using that part of the channel, then why should they maintain it?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of their philosophy.
Okay.
But no, we do. Yeah, we've got. Well, I know as far as the mills here in the river, we do them all except 2. One of my competitors does 2 of them.
Okay.
And we do the rest.
So what kind of changes, just generally or specifically, you've mentioned the mills have closed down, but for you in your work and dredging, what kind of changes have you seen?
Well, the regulatory from Environment Canada is getting
Regulatory.
ridiculous.
Okay.
But the way we look at it, the more complicated it gets and the more onerous it gets, better for us. Because I've kept up with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in contact with Environment Canada a couple times a week usually. Is that I know when a lot of these changes are coming, and we know how to handle it and how to streamline all the paper. Like the permit application for an ocean disposal, it's 12 pages. So how do you fill that 12 pages out efficiently and get the paperwork through? So we know how to do all that. So as far as our clients, it's a big. We've got people that'll phone us up and say, "Hey, I need to dredge. I have no clue what to do." I said, "That's okay. That's what we're here for. You keep your mill running. You put your focus on your mill work. We can look after all the permit side of it." Like with Chick Stewart for his island, he had no clue how to do that. And he put his resources into keeping his mill running, and we looked after the permit side of it.
So regulations,
Yeah. Now fisheries is getting easier.
You have to deal with fisheries too, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Outside the Fraser River, there's no port authorities, so you don't deal with the port to get a permit. If you've dredged a site within the last 10 years, you don't even have to tell DFO, just go ahead and do it, because it's an existing site that's been historically dredged. They don't want to know about it because you're not hurting anybody. As long as you don't hurt any fish. If you hurt any fish, you're in trouble.
How would you know? I mean, like how?
The fish. I've never killed a fish yet.
You mean like crushing or like what?
Yeah, or stunning them, or
okay.
If the sediment gets into their gills or whatever. Out of all the jobs, I've never seen a dead fish. The fish leave as soon as the clam bucket hits the water. They take off if there's anything around.
And this is maybe an aside, but I've heard a lot of other people talking about, there used to be so many oolikans on the Fraser River, and you could just.
They tried to blame that, or fisheries has been trying to grasp at straws and why that's happened.
Yeah.
We used to be able to do small clamshell dredging jobs 12 months of the year, up to 4,000 cubic meters. They've now stopped that. From March 1 to June 15th, we can't do any clamshell work because they say it's because we're contributing to the loss of the ooligans.
Oh.
I personally disagree.
Yeah.
Our little bit of dredging in that little corner over there in the river is not going to do anything to the ooligans. Something else has caused them all to disappear. Oh yeah, there used to be millions of them.
Yeah.
They're all gone.
So you remember that too?
Oh yeah.
Like it's.
We used to have a lady who used to cook our lunches here.
Oh.
Cost you $2 a day. But what it was that was prior to cell phones. So a lot of our crews would phone into the office at lunchtime. So they want the estimators and supervisors to be here to answer the calls. So to keep us here, they charge you $2 a day, and then she'd have a hot lunch for you. She'd come around with muffins and cookies and coffee in the morning and the afternoon. And she used to cook ooligans for one of the lunches. Yeah, I used to go out for lunch.
You did?
They're really greasy. They're like a sardine.
Greasy, yeah.
Really, really greasy. Yeah. But where they've all gone, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it's due to a little bit of dredging that we do.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like you say, you're not...
The suction dredge and our big hopper dredge, they do shut down March 1 until June 15th. Because, they're moving vast volumes of water. So I can understand why we shut those down, but not a little clam bucket.
Okay. I had just assumed it was like the shoreline was their habitat, but it's not like you're dredging this island here, for example.
No.
So, okay, well.
And then back in 2006, Fraser River was expanding our equipment fleet. They were going to buy another big dump barge. It's 200 feet long, 42 feet wide, and about 19 feet deep. It's a big bottom hydraulic dump barge. They named it after me. It's actually officially called the B.E. Jebson. That's up there, the pictures when it got christened.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Okay, so you mentioned that your son works with you.
He does, yeah.
He's
this is his 4th year with us now.
Wow.
He's a bridgeman. That's his picture on my door.
Oh,
That's a job up in Prince Rupert.
That's a great photo.
Yeah, Captain Morgan.
Okay. So your dad was involved here then?
He was, yeah. He was a foreman. Did a lot of the concrete work on the big concrete docks that we built.
Yeah.
He retired. He's 83 now, and he retired before he was 60, so he's been retired for a while. I started in 81.
Yeah.
In fact, my dad and I worked on the same jobs for a couple of jobs, and then my son started probably 4 years ago in December. So he just got his journeyman papers now.
Okay.
So he's a full bridgeman pile driver now.
Wow. And so, and I guess he's working in a union, I'm assuming. Yeah.
Yeah, he's part of the 2404 pile drivers union.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of family connections.
There is.
Here.
We have 5 steels. I think 4 long mirrors. 1, 2. No, I think no. Or we had 5 long mirrors. 2 have left. gone and done other things. I think who else has got the Cavasses? A couple of Cavasses are here. I can't remember some of them. Yeah, McMorris, Danny McMorris, one of our senior operators. Both his dad and his uncle, both have been operators for us in the past. So, and then Russ Griswood, who's the operator on that crane across the river. His dad used to be one of our crane operators. He's since retired.
Oh.
So, yeah, it's a small little world.
Yeah.
And this office has been here since about the mid-'70s.
Okay.
The yard's been here for a long time, but they used to have an office in New West, and then they built
I
this.
remember that, like right downtown. You mean?
No, it was up on 6th Street.
Oh, really?
You know where Smitty's restaurant is up on 6th?
Yep. I'm from New West.
Okay,
so,
just a little bit down from there, there was a bit of an office tower.
Okay.
About maybe a 10-story building. They used to be in there. That was prior to my time.
Oh.
Because I started here.
Yeah. Okay. You've always been here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I just get so. Just thinking about like the knowledge that you have about the river itself.
Yep.
Like, you know, where the sand or where the silt sand material builds up and.
Yeah, I don't know too much about the main river, the stuff that the Hopper Dams looks after.
Okay.
I know more of the North Arm, a little bit up in the Surrey side, of kind of where, I mean, I know the frequency of kind of when facilities need to be dredged. A lot like down in around Mitchell Island, the Mitchell Slough, a lot of those areas fill in for quite a bit. And again, I know the frequency of all the mills, because like Delta Cedar, we do them about every 2.5, 3 months. We have to go and take a barge load of bark out. Again, because they concentrate their whole process in one spot.
Right.
So every log lands there, and all a little bit of bark, everything falls off in that one spot. But you know, I've had numerous people phone me up, different mills, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When was it 2 years ago when that deep sea freighter went through the coal dock out of Roberts Bank and smashed the dock all up? I was on a Panama cruise with my wife and my dad and his friend when I got the phone call. I had my phone with me. I didn't get the call right away, but I got the voicemail from the client out of West Shore. Hey, we got a problem.
West Shore, right?
Yeah.
Do you do any major projects out at West Shore? Or like,
Yep. I did. We just did a major dredging job out there on Berth 2.
Oh, okay.
What happened was, over the years, a little bit of coal spillage, a little bit of silts had built up. The bottom of that berth had built up quite a bit, that they couldn't load the ships as deep as they wanted to because they didn't have the amount of water.
Yeah.
The problem with coal is that when you run the tests for Environment Canada, the chemical test, it fails, pH, it's hydrocarbons. So again, what I've learned, because I've been dealing with Environment Canada so many years, there's what's called a bioassay test. You can take 4 liters of the material, they get 100 amphipods, they harvest them from over in Tofino area, and the lab puts these 100 bugs into that material, and they monitor how many survive. And if X percentage survives, there's 3 different tests they do, then they say, well, the material's inert, the material is not hurting the environment, go ahead and dump in the ocean. So I got 15,000 cubic meters taken out of the coal port and taken to the Point Grey disposal site, and it doesn't hurt anything, doesn't hurt anybody. So we've got about 4 or 5 sites now that we historically have not been able to dredge.
Yeah.
But because this bioassay testing, it's a $10,000 test. It's not cheap.
Right.
That we've been able to meet all the regulatory requirements and help our clients save a lot of money instead of trying to landfill. And a lot of times the landfill don't want the material anyway.
So you mean the alternative to you is, in the case of a more toxic, they just
put it in the landfill. Yeah. Put it on a
stuff
barge.
On a barge, okay.
Bring it to a ramp, dry it out, load it into trucks, truck it to the landfill, and it's really expensive.
Oh.
But most of the work here in the North Arm, the work that we do here, it's not contaminated. There's nothing in it. Kids can play in it.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's kind of muddy. It's kind of mucky.
Yeah, it's muddy.
Yeah, but as far as anybody hurting, it's not going to hurt anybody.
So I've heard both things. I've heard some people think that the Fraser River was more polluted before because there was less regulation on, say, mills even, like dumping.
Yep.
And then a lot of people who maybe don't know a lot about the history of the river think that it's really polluted now because it looks brown and things.
It's not. If it's brown, it's during freshet when the sediment level is a lot higher. I think it's cleaner now. I mean, you can swim anywhere in here in the river, anywhere you want. You're not going to. I think the shorelines have been cleaned up. The ports are slowly getting rid of a lot of the floating debris. There's shoreline cleanup crews that go and pick garbage off the beach. I think the regulatory people now are monitoring outfalls more than they used to. So they're catching anybody dumping any toxic stuff into the water.
Yeah.
And I think it's also too public perception, public eyes. I know every time we have an incident where, you know, a little bit of fuel oil spilt overboard or whatever, for whatever reason, we report it right away. I've had it before where we'll be doing a job and an oil slick will come down river, like diesel coming from upriver somewhere above where we are. We phone it in right away because we want someone to get on it and go find out what's causing it. I mean, and with cell phones and video cameras and all that now, the public perception, it's so easy for someone to take a quick picture of it and all that sort of stuff. The due diligence is way better than it used to be.
No, that's, so right, more paperwork, more due diligence. And is there anything about just the work itself that's changed for you? Like,
well, everything's getting bigger.
The machine, you mean the equipment?
Machinery, the projects.
The projects are
We used to drive timber piles to hold log booms in the booming grounds. Now we drive pipe. Because if you take 5 timber piles, drive them together and tie them together with wire on the top, we can now drive one 24-inch pipe, and it's as strong as those 5 timber piles. So, and like those 5 timber piles would take us 4 hours to drive and lash. We could drive the pipe in less than an hour.
Wow.
So it's cut down, and not only that too is now it's cut down on maintenance work because we're not replacing wood pulp, we're not replacing steel anymore. Once the steel's in, it's there forever. So that part is. Some people say we're shooting ourselves in the foot by driving the pipe, but we're giving our clients a better product.
I'm sure that'll ultimately serve you. I mean that's so. You kind of. I mean, it remains to be seen. You don't. You know, I know you have a lot of business, and you're just expanding, like say the island or up north, and so it's just interesting the way things change. So bigger projects.
Like we used to have a little rig on the river, had a little 20-ton crane on it, small little barge. Used to go around and do a little miscellaneous work now. The smallest rig we had, and then we had a 50-ton, and then we went up from there. I think the biggest rig we had was 200-ton. Well, now we don't have the 20-ton on the water anymore. We don't have the 50-ton on the water anymore. Those rigs are gone. The smallest crane we have on the water is 100-ton, and we've now gone up to a 350-ton, our biggest one. And we have a 220-ton hydraulic crane as well that we didn't used to have years ago. So,
and so when you say 350-ton, does that mean? Is that referring to the weight of the actual barge and crane, or is it how much they can?
That's how much they can lift. Now, a 350-ton crane can't lift 350 ton on the water. Because what governs is the barge it's sitting on. When you pick 350 ton, the barge sinks into the water. How it's rated for 350 ton is if the crane is sitting on hard land with the heel and tip, it can pick 350 tons straight up.
So you mean like down underwater, like it's. Or no,
just on land. Like if it's how they rate the cranes is what the crane can pick in a static location, right in front of the crane. Like that crane across the river there, that's a 200-ton Manitowoc crane. But the most he can probably pick is about 70, 80 ton. Because he's on the water. I mean, so we go down the lunchroom later on. I'll show you. I can point out some of the different cranes that are in the yard. There's an 80 ton, 135 ton, 150 ton. There's a 100 ton across the river, and there's a 200 ton across the river. All various sizes. So, and because I've been around for so long, I can just take a look and I can tell you all the name of all the different rigs. Plus we have the second largest flat barge fleet, second to C-SPAN in the world.
Oh wow!
For cargo barges, moving cargo, moving rock.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's 26. I think the last time we counted.
Because C-SPAN, I mean, that's who you see. You know, the barges going up and down.
They've got the most.
Yeah.
And then we're second to them.
That's good. That's quite a lot.
Then. Oh yeah. But then you also you need that kind of barge fleet to support the 9 rigs.
Yeah.
In fact, one time last year we actually had to rent it. We had 10 rigs working, and they were all out working. And it was really busy.
It's very interesting because you're talking about a decline in certain, well, not a decline, but a change. Like you know, the mills are gone. The equipment's bigger. That you're using steel, and yet you're expanding and growing.
Yeah, we are.
Amazing. Just different things. So So to what extent then do you think the river is a working waterfront? Compared to, I mean, you can talk about it now, or what you've seen. In comparison, you look at Western Whitewood. Yeah. That spot across the river is 42 acres. They used to have an active sawmill on it, and they used to use the waterfront for all their activities, between tying up logs, loading chip barges.
Now, that whole property is all industrial. They don't use the waterfront at all.
Yeah.
We've taken it, and now we're using it for tying our barges up. There still is a log storage up above, which I think Harkin Towing has taken that lease over. So they still use part of it for log storage. But a lot of, you see the river changing where the people on the uplands are not utilizing the water lease as part of their operation.
Yeah.
They're separating it now.
Mm-hmm.
It's going two different ways. So
Yeah.
that's changing a lot.
Yeah.
You go down the North Arm, down from about Kerr Street going west. There's basically no industry. The only thing that's there now is North Arm Transportation, but everything else that is all condominiums.
Mm-hmm.
Everything all
Yeah. Well, same
same
in
as
the
here.
West. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's changing too.
I don't know if I have my dates, but do you ever remember the Longshore docks down in New West?
In
Is
New
it-
West, when I started, they didn't load, those docks were all
Yeah.
condemned back then.
Yeah.
before
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
But yeah, old PCT,
Sounds right.
Pacific
Yeah.
Coast Terminals used to call it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's a park for part of it.
Yeah, it's a park. Well, condos again. Like
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly all, and even Queensboro. Like you talk about the sawmills and the
Yeah, oh yeah, down below here.
Port
That's right.
Royal.
Yeah, because that's right. The other mill used to be was New West Sawmill. Used to be down there.
the
Where
Shuck
Queen-
Mill, or is that something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Years
Westminster.
ago, it was called the Shuck Mill,
Okay.
and then it became Western Forest, New West Division.
Okay. Western Forest Products.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to orient the geography. Okay.
That's the other thing with these drawers, is a lot of the mills kept changing
Yeah.
owners. So it
It's
was like,
hard.
okay, I got to take this file, I got to change the name and move it to this part of my drawer,
Yeah.
or I know when things change,
Mm-hmm.
so that I know what part of the drawer to go find it, or I'll put it like on our computer when I'll put C such and such for past that past
Okay.
information.
Yeah, it's hard to keep track.
Oh, I've had consultants phone me up and say, hey, have you got the past sales data from such and such a place and such a year? Yeah, I got it. But I said, you got to have to get permission from the client for me to give it to you. Because all this stuff's all confidential. I can't just give it to anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, what kind of equipment? Like, obviously, you're using a crane, but me, a lay person, what on a typical, you're going to go out and dredge. What do you need? What do you take? What kind of equipment?
Two different types of projects. One is where we, if you do a lot of mill work, we have to take like a marine clamshell derrick and a couple of flat barges.
Okay.
And on the flat barge, we'll have an excavator or a front-end loader.
Oh,
We load the material onto that barge
using the clamshell.
using the clamshell.
Yeah.
Yep. And then once the scows are loaded, then the tug takes them out down the river, down to Point Grey,
Okay.
out to the spoil grounds. There's a circle. If you look at a marine chart, there's a circle that's got an S in the middle
Yeah.
of it.
Mm-hmm.
We have to then, when a tug leaves the job site, we have to notify vessel traffic that we're leaving. We have to certain checkpoints as they go down the river with vessel traffic. Once they're in the spoil grounds, they have to let vessel traffic know, okay, we're in the spoil grounds, confirm we're in the right spot, and then they start dumping. And when they start dumping, they have to write down the date, the time, and the coordinates of where they started, and then they tune circles out there, and the vessel traffic keeps an eye on the tug through radar to make sure he stays inside that circle. And then when they're finished, they give the date, time, and coordinates of when they're finished. And then this is a report we have to give to Environment Canada of every job, of where we did the volume we took out, when we did it, where we disposed of it. That's got to be an annual report. Well, in fact, a monthly report sometimes they want to give to them. Now, if you're doing a job, now that's if you're doing like wood waste type material, and it's shallow. If you're doing a gravel ramp where it's silts and sands and basically river sediment, we use a big dump barge, which is what that big barge is up there. In fact, here, let me bring some pictures.
So that's different from a scow.
They're all barges,
Okay.
but they're either bottom dump barge or
Oh.
flat barges. Just look at some pictures of Queensgate Marina that we just finished in the Annis's Channel.
Okay. Yeah.
So here, this is my electronic folders of all the clients we have. Queensgate.
Okay. Right. This is the job.
That's my son there.
Oh.
So what we're doing here is we're pulling piles out in order to get these houses out of our way so we can go and dredge underneath them.
And why would you dredge underneath a house? I mean, sorry if that's a silly question, because
That's okay.
eventually they'll
Yeah.
be on land, I
Yeah.
guess.
Basically what's happening is houses are going underground. So instead of the float home floating
Yeah.
at low tide, it touches bottom and then it doesn't sit quite right, and
Oh,
then
my
you
goodness.
can crack the floats. So that's
Okay.
what, yeah.
I see.
So there's a pipe we're actually driving. So there's some of the pipe we've extracted,
Oh yeah.
and then this one, this particular house we moved upriver, and then we're driving this pipe in the ground to hold the house temporary in place. What we're gonna do. So there's the dump barge.
Okay. Dump barge, so it's different from.
Basically, what
That's-
it is.
Oh wow, that's a really cool photo.
What it is, it's basically got a big hopper in it.
Hmm.
We dump all the mud into the hopper.
Yeah.
Once it's loaded, there's a hinge
Mhm.
on both ends,
Mhm.
and there's two big cylinders on each end that hydraulically force that barge. Now basically the barge opens up,
And you drop.
and it drops out, opens up 11 feet wide on the bottom, and everything inside the hopper just falls out. Takes 5 minutes. It's all done remotely. The tug crew has a remote control box on the tug. They just push a button, the hydraulic engine starts on board the scow. Push another button, cylinders open up, close it, on the way back. 5 minutes. That's all it takes.
And so you open it up because you're dumping all the sand
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
And where do you do that? Same idea as.
At Point Grey.
Yeah.
This is all done at the spoil grounds.
Oh. So they tug it out, yeah, like
Yeah.
what you were saying. So then, how do you decide? These are great photos. Would you be willing to share any
Sure,
of them?
absolutely.
Okay.
You're not going to want those ones because it's kind of got to. So this is the clam bucket. So.
Okay. Yeah, these are really good.
Let me see if I get it better. I can show you what we're doing. It's a little bit dark. So
Mhm.
this barge right now is only about 4 feet out of the water.
Mhm.
Normally it's about 17. So that's how much material we have in the
Wow.
hopper.
So then that heavy load is taken away by the tug.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, there'll be
And
some-
then the derrick goes back.
the derrick just stays here.
Oh.
We had 7 days of dredging
Oh,
here.
okay, okay. But when you're finished,
Yeah.
it
Let
obviously.
me just see if I can. There's probably a picture.
Oh wow! See, I mean, like
There you go.
that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Like so, I mean, it illustrates exactly what
Yeah.
you're talking about.
Yeah,
It's a great photo.
Basic muck. So what it was, the first few pictures you saw, that's where these houses were parked out in front here.
Oh, okay.
So what's happened is this float was all going aground,
Okay.
plus the houses were. So we've had to dredge in behind here, and then we also have to be careful that there's a fish habitat up here. It's all the
Mhm.
grass,
Mhm.
and then there's a riprap slope that goes down.
Mm.
So we got to be careful when we were taking the mud out, but we don't want to take the rock because we
Wow.
want to keep the rock there to protect the bank. So there you go. There's one fully loaded.
Wow. Gee,
Yeah.
that's a great photo also. And the tug. Yeah.
There's just started.
Was that a C-span tug?
No,
or-
Cathwood towing.
I never heard of
Actually,
them.
no.
Where are they
Excuse me.
based?
No, that's a Mercury tug. Normally, we hire Cathwood. They're based out of Mission,
Okay.
but they do a lot of work down around in the Lower Mainland here. They didn't have a boat that particular day that I needed one, so they
Okay.
hired. I think it was the FW Wright. Was the name of the boat.
So there was so much sediment there. It took you 7 days. To,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess it's an awkward with the riprap.
Well, it's all,
and
the site's also
habitat.
the site's also 700 feet long.
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
don't have a drawing of it here. Now that's where he's in the. You can see the mud on the bank here.
Mhm.
So there's rock underneath it. So we had to go in and carefully take the rock out.
Right, and that's to the tide. It looks different.
Tide's
Is
low.
that-
Yeah, tide's way down there.
How does the tide affect this work?
It
I mean, it
does.
does,
It
but-
does in a way because when that barge is fully loaded,
Yeah.
it needs 16 and a half feet of water to
Oh.
float. Now we're only dredging to minus 6 feet along here. Now it does go out and the river does drop off, but the reason we picked this time of year to do this job is you have high tides during the day.
Mm.
You get tides that go up to over 10 feet when we're doing this. So you've got the 10-foot tide, plus we've dredged it to at least 6, so now you've got at least 16 feet of water that we can load that barge and get it out. You wouldn't be loading that barge to full depth on a day when the tide's way down.
So you have to have a knowledge of the tide, or at least some awareness.
We have, there's my dump barge.
Yeah.
Let me see if I got, there's one there.
Yeah.
So
So there's water in there too, I guess.
a little bit of
That's-
standing, because
yeah, 'cause clay?
when the clam bucket comes up, it does have a little bit of standing water
Yeah.
in it, but the water just drains out.
Yeah, yeah.
Just trying to think if I can show you. This is moving some of the houses. And again, this float extends back here, so we're trying to dig around the corner
Wow.
to get the mud out, to make sure this all
It's
floats.
delicate. You think it kind of just reminds me of what I've seen, like an excavator. Only it looks even harder.
Yeah, that bucket weighs 9 ton empty, 18,000 pounds, empty. The cables on the crane are 1 1/8 cable that
Right.
we're running.
inch and an eighth, yeah.
The other thing too, yeah, you can sort of see there's numbers on the side of the bucket.
Yeah, yeah.
What that's for is he needs to know how deep he is. So
In the water.
yeah, see,
right.
there's a tide board down here, that white and black.
Uh-huh.
What that's telling him is I can't quite read it, but say the tide board reads 2 feet. He wants to dredge this down, so we have 6 feet of tide, 6 feet of water at low tide. So at 6 and 2, he has to make sure he dredges this down to the 8 feet of water. So he'll close his bucket, lower his bucket to the bottom, and then swing it back and forth at the 8 foot mark, and then he knows he's got enough water. There's no humps or bumps to make sure he's got it deep enough.
Wow.
See what he's doing here, he's checking the water depth to make sure we're not going to put that barge aground. Because if that barge grounds, then the tug can't take it away because it's stuck.
Wow. Yeah.
It also does a lot of damage to the hull if you put it aground.
Yeah.
There's our crane operator, Danny, and that was one of the homeowners.
Oh.
She wanted to come up in the cabin to say hello.
Fun.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't have to confirm it. I don't think my boss has any problem giving any of these pictures.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I
like
wonder.
that one.
Yeah, that one's good. Should I write the numbers down? Like if I have to email you back, it would probably be harder. Maybe we go through them again.
Well, we'll go back to some of these here. We'll go back up.
Yeah, there was one in particular with the sediment in the clamshell. Yeah, I mean that one, like I may not use all of them, but
yeah, that one's would have been nice if I could have got one with all that mud in it. What ended up happening is we also use these barges down at Eburn where they load excavation spoil in from downtown excavations.
Oh.
So this stuff is all stuck in the hopper. So
okay.
The reason I took these pictures, what I'm doing now is I'm trying to wash everything out to get the scow as clean as I can.
Oh, okay. So that wasn't actually.
I thought I took a picture of it when it was clean. Well, I guess I did. Just say so for when you like.
That one for sure. That one is quite remarkable.
Queen's Gate.
It's number 486 if that helps too.
486, yeah.
So yeah, if that's sediment, that's
what all the mud is.
Yeah, I like that one too. We should mark that one. 287, or sorry, 487. That's a cool one too. 491.
These are kind of dark.
Yeah, they're dark, but that's a good one.
496. I got to get something here with my name on one of the barges somewhere. What this, I took this is this is the hatch you go down to service the big hydraulic cylinders.
Okay.
Well, it's basically confined space. It's not a confined space for our atmospheric problems. It's confined space because if a guy gets down and gets hurt, to get him out. So we've, most of our guys are all trained in confined space rescue with harnesses and tripods and all that kind of stuff.
That's a cool
Actually,
one.
I like that one better than the previous one, 501.
Yeah, I mean,
Which is the one, I'm going to check, I can't remember, let's just go back here.
Sure.
Looking for 187. No, that one, let's take that one out. The other one, that's a better one.
Sure.
Did I say 501? That one. See, the other thing like you're looking at right now is this clam bucket's on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
So it's really shallow. Like there was a lot of areas there at low tide, it was dry land. Speak up if you want any of these.
Yeah, I will. I like that one too. I mean, yeah, like these are all they're showing the same.
Well, there's one show my new one.
Yeah, okay. Let's take that one too. 518. Yeah. No, those are good. That's actually a really nice
that
one. Yeah.
I need to send that to. This is for our Xmas party.
Okay.
We have a big slideshow for our Christmas party. Actually, even that one tone it out even.
Yeah.
20. That's the homeowners. Looking this work. That's where once a week we have to boom down and do a full boom service. We have to go and grease everyone on the boom.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we boom it down over the water, and there's a walkway on the boom that the guy walks out, and the services the.
Wow.
So that's driving pipe to put the. That's actually. This is the day I got hurt, because we're pulling these pipe out.
Right.
Wait a minute. Yeah, that was the day I got hurt.
I think now we're back
Back
to
the beginning.
yeah.
Yep.
No, those are great though.
Okay,
That's
I'm just trying
perfect.
to think. Want to have for New West.
Yeah.
Oh, I know something you would like to see is the Samson.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
We
We've
do the
dredged
dredging of the Samson.
Yeah, I guess you probably dealt with the manager of the museum then.
Yeah.
Before Rob.
See what I got to.
Yeah, these would be fun.
No, as long as I got pictures of there's just yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
61.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
Let's go 1162. That's the same crane too that was doing the Queensgate. It's a TL Shark.
Yeah.
It's got an elevated cab. We only have 2 cranes that have this elevated cab.
That's a good one.
Too?
Yeah.
That's it. Back
Yeah.
to the beginning. I'm trying to think what else in the West. I mean, I got pictures from all over the place, but
Well, those are great, for sure.
oh, I know. I have a picture I don't have. Ron Francis got a little place just here in the Anna's Channel.
Oh.
Little pictures. What else is in the West?
Well, I mean,
I've got
if
probably.
you think of it.
Yeah, I've probably got past pictures like of Inner 4 Queensborough,
Oh, I
Inner
saw
4
that,
Acorn.
yeah.
Not Acorn. Acorn's over in Queensborough.
Hmm.
No, I don't have any pictures.
Hmm.
Oh, wait a minute, though. No, I might have. I've started storing my pictures under each individual names, but up until then I was putting them in this other folder. This is dredging the log
Right
now,
over
just
there.
across the river.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, this is a different. This is where you have flat barges
Mm-hmm.
with an excavator.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay. And why would you choose to do?
Water
Okay.
depth in this
Oh.
area because we're not dredging it very deep.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't load our big dump barges, and there is a fair amount of wood waste in the
Mm.
sediment. And if you get too much wood waste in it, when the barge opens up,
Mm-hmm.
the material bridges and it doesn't dump out,
Oh.
and then you can't close the scow. You
Okay.
have to take a rig all the way to Point Grey to get rid of it. Let's see what else. No, same.
Yeah. Those look.
Anyway, trying to think what other. Yeah, because you're interested in New West, not something up across the river.
Kind of. Yeah. I mean, it's we're gonna have to be focused. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but those are good. I mean, that's because we'll be talking about everybody on the river too within
Yeah.
the exhibit. So, no, that's great. Those are totally.
Yeah, what I'll do
Awesome.
is I'll put these into a file, and I'll
Mhm.
run them by my boss.
Yeah.
Make sure it's okay to give them to. I can't see why they wouldn't be, but
Yeah.
gotta make sure I don't get them pissed off.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, the last question I have for you, unless until I email you with questions more, would be, I guess, what would you, if you had like a comment about the river or something you think that people don't know, or something you'd want the public to know about the river, just in general, like, you know, is it, if it's related to your work or not, but.
Well, I mean, the river's a pretty easy mode of transportation. I mean, I sat on PEP for a while, which is for emergency preparedness.
Oh yeah.
We were trying to get involved with Vancouver. Well, in New West as well. That if there's ever an earthquake, the first thing that's going to fall down is going to be the bridges. So you're going to need the river in order to move around. A lot of people don't realize the force of what water can do, the damage it can do. You go out to Roberts Bank, and when storms kick up in that, it's incredible. But a lot of people don't understand and don't. I don't know how you want to say it. What's what I'm looking for?
Not exposed to it, or.
Well, they're not exposed to it, but they don't appreciate what the water can do, and they don't take enough precautions. Like, wear a freaking life jacket. Water's cold. If you're in a car top boat or a pleasure boat or something, put your life jacket on. I mean, our guys, well, there's jacket.
Yeah,
their
extra.
jackets under there. I mean, our guys are all. When we're working on the water, we're generally not working by ourselves. We're working with somebody. But still, if you go in, by the time they get a boat and come and get you, it's a few minutes. I did a job. I was involved with below the Port Mann Bridge. We were putting a rock over top of a pipeline, and the tug went to move one of our anchors, and the tug skipper made a mistake and sunk his boat. So his deckhand went in the water. He had his life jacket on. The skipper did not. So we witnessed the whole thing. So my one of my work guys who were on the rig, we went and jumped into our safety boat, and we went roaring down there as fast as we could get there. And when time we got to that, now as the tug went down, the skipper walked the hull up onto the top because it went down stern first. So as the boat goes down,
So he had some time,
but
I
not
guess.
much, because
No.
as the boat goes down, the suction pulls him underwater. So
Oh my God.
by the time we got to him, the skipper was spent. He had nothing left, and it was all this my partner and I could do to get that 200-pound guy into our boat. We saved him, but again, it just shows wear your life jacket.
Wow.
People don't think about it. I mean, how often do you hear fishermen falling
Yeah.
overboard?
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
the water can be your friend, but it can also turn against you really quick. And current is another one, especially
Yeah.
working here in the river.
Yeah.
When you're working, we do a lot of low tide work on the protection piers on the various railway bridges.
Oh.
Of course, we need to do when the water's down to bolt the different timbers on while the water's really running fast.
Yeah.
And if you're not careful, you fall in, you're way downriver, or if you're working inside the pier and you fall in, you can drown. So you just got to be aware of it all.
Wow.
Yeah. And in 33 years, I've only fallen in once.
Oh wow. That's pretty good.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah.
Wow.
So. No, I'm doing this 33 years, and I'm hoping to retire in another 4. I hope.
Wow.
I'm hoping. I'd like to go when I'm 60, if I can.
Wow.
If I can arrange it. Depends if the finances there. We'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So,
Wow, good for you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I really
No problem.
appreciate your time.
I'm sure you're gonna have lots of questions.
I will. Yeah,
Yeah.
but this is great.
Yeah.
I really appreciate
Yeah.
it.
No, if there's anything else you need, don't hesitate to give me a shout.
Yeah.
So this is a job we did over in Chemainus.
Oh yeah.
They bring the logs in here. They go up this side lift through the bark. It takes the bark off, and the logs fall back into the water. They store them in this pocket. They can do they can debark enough logs in 8 hours to keep the sawmill running. Then the logs go up this log haul and go into the sawmill, and they can keep the sawmill running for 24. So what we're doing here right now is we're replacing the sheep hull wall here that failed, and then this rig is over here dredging. You know where all the material is.
Wow.
We were just there again this summer. We had 2 rigs. The bottom of these, here, all the arms on the bottom all had to be replaced with divers. So we had to take all the chains off and then work with divers and change all the arms.
Do you have divers, or is it?
No, we don't. We
Contract.
have a couple of companies that we hire.
Yeah.
They're certified, WCB certified.
Yeah.
And they're actually part of the same union that our bridgemen are.
Oh.
We don't do enough dive work to have our own dive crews,
Mhm.
and it's pretty specialized.
I would think.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a whole other.
I'm looking at doing a job right now in Nanaimo where there's a tugboat that's sunk in 220 feet of water that they want us to go salvage. Yeah.
Can you do it?
Oh, yeah. Easy. Yeah, we don't do it all the time, but I have salvaged boats before.
Yeah.
We did one down the North Arm years ago. C-SPAN was going down through the Oak Street Bridge and wasn't going to make the hole. He knew he was going to miss it. So he aborted, turned his tug and went to go upriver. Well, and the two scows he was towing came around behind him. It got caught on one of his side tow bits on the tug, and it flipped his boat over so fast that it was floating upside down. So we had to go down, and I know the marine adjusters and the insurance people and everybody all scratching their heads at how we're going to pick this thing up without sinking it. Because when you roll it over, it's going to sink.
Oh.
So I just told him, I said, no, we run 2 lines to this ball or 2 lines to that ball. When we pick it up, we got a hold of it. So we rolled it right side up. And
Amazing.
the skipper got his wallet back. His wallet was still inside the cabin on the tug. It was wet, but he got it back.
Yeah, I bet. Wow. God. Crazy. So many things happening.
Yeah. No, there's lots of information here. There's lots of stuff that's up here. That
I know.
I keep trying
Exactly.
to want to pass on to somebody else. But
Yeah, well, it's started.
Yeah, it started.